Welcome back. You're watching the first edition of Business Morning for the week on Channels Television, and we're broadcasting live from Lagos, Nigeria. As I told you just before we went on that quick break, that we hope to connect with the Managing Director of Enterprise Capital and a stockbroker with the Nigerian Stock Exchange to take a closer look at what actually gave the market direction last week. As I said, the market actually finished 0.99% in positive territory, almost up by 1%. So let's quickly check in with Rotimi and find out how the market, or to talk about more about what gave the market direction yesterday. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the program, Rotimi.
Good morning, Ale.
Well, it's so good to have you on the program. It's the first trading day of the week, and last week the market actually finished in North Territory, appreciated almost 1%. A good beginning for a new month or quarter, I must say. But what actually gave the market direction?
Well, it's not far-fetched from the flurry of results that has been coming to the market. But I think for the week, the gain cut across every sector for the week ended, except for industrial goods, which closed down at about 1.64%. I think for several other ones, I think the NSE Oil and Gas Index was topmost with about 5.94% and followed closely by NSE Banking Index. So I think looking at it critically, majority of these companies, of these sectors, released their results during the week, and I think substantially, most of those results were really very exciting. And I think investors are taking them in good light. So the selling spree, the desperate selling spree, didn't really come in the week that just ended. And I think there is every likelihood, like I said last week, that this quarter is definitely going to be better than the quarter ended in March.
Now, you actually mentioned the fact that all the indices appreciated for this week just ended, except for the NSE Industrial Goods. Now, why did this happen? Is it that equities listed on this index didn't perform well? Because at least for most of last week, we noticed that Dangote Cement, recorded some price gains, and it wasn't enough, was it, to push the index away from the negative territory?
Well, I think for the industrial goods index, like Dangote Cement has more than 60-70% of the total capitalization of that index. And I think a slight change in the price of Dangote Cement will definitely spell trouble or fortune for that particular index. And I think that was exactly what played out. So I think the slight drop that we saw in the overall spike drop that we saw for the week of Dangote Cement is actually what was responsible for what we saw. And I think maybe some fluctuations in the share price of CCNA.
So now, with the rebased figures, GDP figures officially announced, which we know happened yesterday, was also going to be the focus of our conversation on the program today. What are your thoughts as to how this will affect market sentiment?
Well, I think Nigeria now being listed as one of the 26 countries in the world with the highest GDP. I think, and also maybe moving closely with that of South Africa. I think definitely it's going to attract a lot of attention, and people are going to begin to ask questions: where is this country? What are they doing? And what are the opportunities that are bad in that country? And I think with such questions coming up, we're definitely going to see a lot of impact cutting across every sector, including the capital market. So I think this development is something that is really worthwhile. And I believe everybody, operators, investors, government functionaries, everybody will be well delighted about this development. And I think going forward, we should really see how we can harness the opportunities we have within our system and see how we can foster a better Nigeria.
That's very true. But now also going forward, at least for this week, the CBN will debit banks to enforce the new cash reserve requirement on private sector deposits, which was actually increased from 12 to 15%. Will this affect the market negatively or positively?
But I think immediately the announcement was made, the reaction had already come, and the market has assimilated whatever there is in terms of fluctuation concerning the market. I think for now, the market has gotten over it and the market is moving on. So whichever way, it did not really have any significant effect on the market. And I think maybe having got used to it now, definitely the market has shaken it off and the market is moving on. So we may likely see the positive trend continue and it's with more results coming. Because I learned that our First Bank, is it 15th, that they said they'll be sending in their auditor report. I just pray that that result will be as good as several other good ones that we have seen, so that it doesn't cause a turnaround within the market.
Well, we'll wait and see how that result actually looks like. But just before I let you go this morning on the program, Rotimi, which equities will likely continue to hold investors' interest this week?
Well, it's here and there. I want to believe that the stock of Zenith Bank will definitely have some positive trend this week. We've seen the price of GT Bank going as high as 27 naira at the week close. And I think these two stocks usually have a lot of things that put them together. And I think with the price of GT Bank at such a high level, we may likely see the price of Zenith Bank coming up as well. And I think there's been a lot of activities in Zenith Bank. So I think investors are really definitely going to look at that stock and increase their appetite for it.
No hope of seeing investors turn their attention to equities listed or industrial goods, beg your pardon, industrial goods, of course, and the consumer goods index. We're not hoping to see investors turn their eyes on any equities there, are we?
Well, I think attention will still be there. But I think the activity that we see in the banking sector can't be compared with that of the other two sectors that you mentioned. So invariably, investor interest is still going to be there because a lot of them are still trading cool deals. I think they have not marked down for their dividend payment. So invariably, there will still be some activities there, and investors may really want to take advantage of the various dividends that they have declared.
Well, thank you so much, Rotimi, for sharing your thoughts with us this morning on the program.
You're welcome.
Business Morning returns in just a moment. Please join us again.